When PG&E biologists need to count salmon, sometimes they have to swim with the fish. Two PG&E aquatic biologists and California wildlife officials recently put on wetsuits to snorkel Butte Creek, about 90 miles north of Sacramento. But this was more than just a dip in the creek on a hot summer day. Every year, over 3 days, PG&E partners with the California Department of Fish and Game to count the threatened Central Valley spring run Chinook salmon. PG&E's purpose is simple: to ensure the utility's nearby hydropower facilities continue to generate some of the nation's cleanest electricity while protecting the environment.
I would say that overall, the reason why we have a good population of fish here is because PG&E's operation of this project. I believe that long term, this has provided a safe haven for spring run Chinook salmon.
In the case of Butte Creek, officials credit PG&E with enhancing the fish's habitat. That's because the diversion of cold water to the area has created ideal conditions for the salmon, which migrate from the ocean to Butte Creek in the spring and spawn in the creek in the fall. A report by the federal agency that promotes sustainable fisheries and the recovery of protected species found that PG&E's flow management during summer months actually contributes to greater survival for the salmon.
There's a lot of interest here on Butte Creek because these fish are listed under the Endangered Species Act, so there's lots of different stakeholders that have interest in seeing these fish do well, and PG&E is a bigger part of that as all the other stakeholders involved.
As for the fish counting, it's a unique task that involves a good memory and acute observation. The salmon counters don't actually touch the fish, but count how many fish they see as they float down the creek while the fish scatter around them. Members of the group then compare their fish counts with one another in order to create a fish population estimate.
So one of the things that we do is we'll try to go single file or in pairs, and when we do that, you kind of push them to the tail end of the pool. Once they get crowded down there, they'll start to come back up, and you can get a good count, both people looking inside, or if you're single file, the same type of effect. You just don't have the width of the creek in those areas.
For decades, PG&E has been helping Fish and Game conduct this survey. It helps Fish and Game get our annual count, plus it helps the aquatic folks within PG&E fulfill some of their obligations too to the project.
This year has provided the biggest population of the salmon in years. Officials estimate 10 to 15,000 fish this year, compared with about 2,000 last year. At the end of the day, PG&E aquatic biologist Catalina Reyes gets to tell her young daughter that she did something important for the environment.
I tell my daughter that I got to play with fish. Yeah, and I tell her that I'm out and counting fish and making sure that they're okay, and she loves it. She always asks me why she doesn't get to come out.
For Currents, I'm David Kligman.